Later.
Excuse me, sir. Can I just disturb for a minute? Many participants want to join, but they're not able to join because 100 participants are there. So if arrangement can be made, so others can join. Thank you.
So today it's a great privilege for me that you people have given me this opportunity to deliver legal knowledge about child policy, child protection policy. So earlier, my senior, Mr. B.D. Das, has elaborately discussed about the POCSO Act and its punishment. So today, my session is regarding child protection policy. So constitutional provision for child protection. So what are the constitutional provision for child protection? A right to equality, a right against discrimination, a right to personal liberty and due process of law, Article 21, a right to free and compulsory elementary education for all children in the year from 6 to 14 years, a right to being protected from being trafficked and forced into bonded labor, which is coming under Article 23, a right to be protected from any hazardous employment till the age of 14 years, which is coming under Article 24, a right to be protected from being abused and forced by economic necessity to enter occupations unsuited to their age or strength, a right to equal opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom and dignity, and guaranteed protection of childhood and youth against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment, a right to early childhood care and education to all children until they complete the age of 6 years. Thereafter, laws governing child protection, the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, the Commission for Protection of Child Right Act 2005, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, POCSO, which has been discussed yesterday by our senior, Mr. B.D. Das, the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015. All these are the Child Protection Policy or Child Protection Act, which has been introduced by the central government or state government. Purpose of Child Protection Policy: safe environment, prevention of abuse, awareness of child right, compliance of government norms, nurturing the child to be productive individual, and transparent reporting. So these are the policies. Everybody should follow it. Safe environment. Safe environment means पिला मानू गोटे सुस्थ वातावरण भितर बा सुस्थ परिवेश भितर बढ़िया पई प्रोत्साहन दे. प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अब्यूज, पिला मानक सहित रफ बिहेवियर न करिवा, गाली गुलज करिवानी, स्लैंग लैंग्वेज यूज करिवानी. अवेयरनेस ऑफ चाइल्ड राइट, शिशु मानकर अधिकार विषय से को अवगत करे. कंप्लायंस ऑफ गवर्नमेंट नॉर्म्स, गवर्नमेंट रो जो नॉर्म्स अछि सेटा को फॉलो करिवा. को माने फॉलो करिवे? Educational institution, those are directly or indirectly coming to contact with the children, hostels, etc. Child Protection Committee is the needed of the hour. POCSO Rule 3, Sub-Rule 4. Any institution housing children, or coming into regular contact with the children, including school, preaches, sports academics, or any other facility for children, must ensure police verification and background check on periodic basis. तामाने होची जे सपोज हम स्कूल रे बा हमर कोनोसी इंस्टीट्यूशन रे धरो हॉस्टल हैला, स्पोर्ट्स हॉस्टल हैला, आउ आपनकर कहि पारती जे ऑर्फनेज हैला, छोट पिला मानकर जोठी एई मानकु रक्षणाबेक्षण करिया पे हमें स्टाफ मानकु नियुक्ति दउछु. बिफोर गिविंग देम अपॉइंटमेंट आमे ताकर पुलिस वेरिफिकेशन ता करैबा निहाती दरकार. आ खाली प्रथमे अपॉइंटमेंट देला बेले पुलिस वेरिफिकेशन करैबाटा जरूरी है. टाइम टू टाइम ताकर पुलिस वेरिफिकेशन ता करैबा दरकार रिगार्डिंग their character, regarding their criminal activities, if pending before any police court or court, etc. One must ensure a police verification and background check on periodic basis of every staff. Such institutions shall also ensure that a periodic training is organized for sensitizing them on child safety and protection. एवं सही स्टाफ मान को मझे मझे अवेयरनेस थ्रू अवेयरनेस आपण तांको जणैबे केमिति चिल्ड्रन मान को सहित से माने बिहेवियर करिवे. तापर आसला पोक्सो रूल 3 सब रूल 5. The respective governments shall formulate child protection policy based on the principle of zero tolerance to violence against children, which shall be adopted by all institutions, organizations, or any other agency working with or coming in contact with children. Thereafter coming POCSO rule 9 compensation. एथिपे कोन compensation रही जदि गोटे victim जदि कोनोसी sexual abuse बा sexual crime रो से शिकार हेछि तांको भी कोन compensation रही. The special court may in appropriate cases on its own and applications filed by or behalf of the child pass and another for interim compensation to meet the needs of the child for relief or rehabilitation at any stage after registration of the first information report. Such interim compensation paid to the child shall be adjusted against the final compensation if any. The special court may on its own or on an application filed by or on behalf of the victim recommended the award of compensation where the accused is convicted or where the case ends in acquittal or discharge or the accused is not traced or identified and in the opinion of the special court the child has suffered loss or injury as a result of that offense. Third, for the special court under subsection 8 of section 33 of the act read with subsection 2 and 3 of section 357A of the Code of Criminal Procedure makes a direction for the award of compensation to the victim. It shall take into account all relevant factors relating to the loss or injury caused to the victim, including the following. What are the type of abuse, gravity of the offenses, and the severity of the mental or physical harm or injury suffered by the child. Second, the expenditure incurred or likely to be incurred on child's medical treatment or physical or mental health or on both. Third, loss of educational opportunity as a consequence of the offense, including absence from school due to mental trauma, bodily injury, medical treatment, investigation, and trial of the offense or any other reason. Fifth, the relationship of the child to the offender, if any. Loss of employment as a result of the offense, including absence from place of employment due to mental trauma, bodily injury, medical treatment, investigation, and trial of the offense, or any other reason. एगुड़ा कहबार तात्पर्य है जे गोटे पिला जेतेबेले बा गोटे विक्टिम जेतेबेले एई जिंसर शिकार होउची सरकार तांको कंपनसेशन आकार रे किछि पैसा पेमेंट करंती टिल डिस्पोजल ऑफ द केस कोन से गुडा धरंतु पिलाटा को मझिरे मझिरे डका हबो ताकर ट्रायल बेले सेतेबेले कोन हबो ना तो स्कूल थिबो तार ट्यूशन थिबो तार पाठ पढ़ा सेठी लॉस हैला आ गोटे होची कोन ना से गोटे मानसिक अस्थिरता भितर गति कर प्रथम कथा सेकंड थिंग होची जेतेबेले ताकू नेई कि जिवे तार बापा बा मां ए जो पेरेंट्स माने नेई कि जिवे जो दिन तांकर थिबो डेट से दिन नेई कि गला बेले तांकर ऑफिस थिबो बा जदि से चाकरी न करथिबे कोनोसी व्यवसायिक प्रतिष्ठान ने थिबे तांकर से दिन नगले होय तो वेज कट हेई पारे बा जदि तांकर से निजे ओनर हेइतबे तांकर दुकान बंद करि जिबाकू पड़िबो एई जो फाइनेंशियल लॉस गुडी को हबो ताकू कंपनसेट करिया पे गवर्नमेंट गोटे फंड्स करिछु एवं एई एप्लीकेशन देले के एप्लीकेशन दबो जे विक्टिम तांको तरफ जे उपले थे बा से निजे एप्लीकेशन देले तांको कंपनसेट करिया पे गवर्नमेंट रो फंड्स अछि तापर आसिला जुवेनाइल जस्टिस केयर एंड प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ चिल्ड्रन ऑफ 2000 एथिरे preliminary definition अछि general principles responsibility of juvenile justice board procedure in relation to children in conflict with the law child welfare committees procedure in relation to children in need care and protection rehabilitation and integration services in CCIS offenses against children miscellaneous who is a child in need of care and protection section 2 subsection 14 who is at intimate risk of marriage before attaining the age of marriage homeless abandoned strict child forced labor began abused tortured neglected exploited mentally or physically challenged mentally or physically ill having incapacitated parents or no parents missing or runaway child whose parents are not traceable, abused, tortured, or exploited for the purpose of sexual abuse or illegal act, vulnerable and is likely to be inducted into drug abuse, trafficking, abused for unconscionable gains, victim of natural or man-made calamity. Fundamental principles as per Juvenile Justice Act. Principle of presumption of innocence, principle of dignity and oath, principle of participation, principle of best interest, principles of family responsibility, principles of safety, positive measures, principles of non-stigmatizing semantics, principles of non-waiver of rights, principles of equality and non-discrimination, principles of right to privacy and confidentiality, principles of institutionalization as a measure of last resort, principles of repartition and restoration, principle of fresh start, principle of diversion, principles of natural justice. Management committee divided into two parts. Incident investigation committee IIC, children committee solely by children. Provision regarding abandoned, missing and surrendered child. Any individual or any organization or a police officer finds an abandoned child, missing child, orphan child without family support within 24 hours 24 घंटा भीतर shall give information to काहा देबे से ना child line services nearest police station or child welfare committee CWC in short DCPU hand over the child care institution registered under this act. Not reporting. Jodi आपण एटाको report न करंती. If information given within 24 hours, if no information given within 24 hours, then it will be constitute an offense. जदि एई भले अवस्था रे पिला मानको आपण पाइला परे information 24 घंटा भितर न दियंती ताले कोन ता पे दंड विधान अछि. If no information given within 24 hours, then it would constitute an offense. Such offences shall be punishable with imprisonment up to 6 months or fine or with both. Fine na amount kete na 10,000. If any parent or guardian wishes to surrender child, he shall produce the child before the committee. Co-committee, CWC, Child Welfare Committee. The committee on satisfaction will cause deed to be executed by the parent or guardian. The parent or guardians shall given 2 months time to reconsider their decisions. In the intervening period, the child may be placed with the parents or guardian or in a specialized adopting agency if child is below 6 years. In a children's home if child is below 6 years. Offences and punishment under JJ. Juvenile Justice Act रे कौन punishment अच्छी? We'll discuss. Disclosure of identity of children without reasonable cause. Section 74. 6-month imprisonment or fine of ₹2 lakh. Cruelty inflicted upon child by the person having the actual charge, 3 years imprisonment, fine or of ₹1 lakh or both. Employment of child for begging, 5 years imprisonment and fine of ₹1 lakh. Whoever gives intoxicating liquor or any narcotic drugs or psychotic substances, 7-year imprisonment and fine of ₹1 lakh. Using a child for vending, pending, carrying, supplying any intoxicating liquor or narcotic drugs, 7-year imprisonment and fine of ₹1 lakh. Exploitation of a child employee, 5-year imprisonment and fine of ₹1 lakh. Offering adoption without following the provision of procedure as provided, 3-year imprisonment or fine of ₹1 lakh or both. Selling or buying a child, pila jo kina bika hue, 5-year imprisonment or fine and fine of ₹1 lakh. Corporal punishment by the person in charge of employee in a child care institution, fine of ₹10,000 for first conviction and for every subsequent conviction, imprisonment up to 3 months or fine or both. Use of child by militant group or other adults, 7-year imprisonment and fine of ₹5 lakh. पिला मानकु टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटीज रे नियुक्ति करिया पे यदि तांकु आपण प्रोत्साहन देबे सेति बेले तांकु 7 जदि एटा पुलिस रो नॉलेज को आसीला ताले तांकु 7 वर्ष सश्रम कारादंड और 5 लाख टका पर्यंत फाइन. Kidnapping and abduction punishment as prescribed under section 359 to 369 IPC shall apply. Child abuse. What is a child abuse? Verbally abusing a child, teasing a child unnecessarily, exposing a child to pornographic acts or literature, touching a child where she or he doesn't want to be touched. काली सार जोटा कहउथले bad touch or good touch. Forcing a child to touch you, breaking down the self-confidence of a child, hitting or hurting a child often to believe your own frustration, manipulating a child, not taking care of a child. For example, unclean, unclothed, unfed child, using a child as a servant, पिला को चाकर रूपे व्यवहार करिया, not listening to a child, पिलार कोनोसी कथा न सुनिबा, neglecting emotional needs of a child, making your own child a severe depriving time for education, hitting and riding a child at school, neglecting child's medical needs, neglecting child's education needs, learning child without supervision. Stages of inquiry. Complaint received through box in any written form. IIC investigates. Report submitted to MC. MC means managing committee. Management committee initiates proceeding. These are the stages of inquiry. Conclude the proceeding, disciplinary action. Right. So these are all child protection policy. Now over to Mr. Sunil Patnaik, who will conduct the next session. Thank you all.
गुड इवनिंग काली तो समस्ते पोक्सो एक्ट जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट बाकी चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन रिलेटेड सब पॉलिसीज ऊपर कथा हिचंदी गोटे खाली ओवरव्यू करूची जे चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन पॉलिसीटा इज द नीड ऑफ द आवर आउ जते चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन स्टैट्यूट्स इंडिया रे अच्छी गोटे ओवरव्यू करिया को गले कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल गारंटीज अच्छी जुवेनाइल जस्टिस प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट अच्छी पोक्सो अच्छी चाइल्ड लेबर प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट अच्छी राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट अच्छी ए अंडर रे चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन गुडा को सीरियसली डील करा जायछि आ इंस्टीट्यूशन मानन को स्ट्रिंजेंट करा जायछि जे जीरो टॉलरेंस करिया पयका they will take measures from the beginning मु खाली एठू आरंभ करबी जोठू आमे responsibility of the institution as we are talking on behalf of the institution or in save of the institution or the procedures to be followed by the institutions गोटे ओवरव्यू करिया को गले चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन पॉलिसी टा प्रथमे स्क्रीन रे डिस्प्ले हो जोटा चाइल्ड राइट वायलेशन हला सपोज नेतु देन द एक्शन इनिशिएट करिवो चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन टास्क फोर्स देखो सीपीटीएफ हम कहूचे सब्सिक्वेंटली सीपीटीएफ रो रिपोर्ट उपरे a committee that is called child protection committee who will conduct an inquiry. He will submit the inquiry report to the management and management will take action as per the recommendation of the CPC. Then on the recommendation of the CPC, the order or the punishment imposed on the employee will be final, but the employee will get an opportunity at the final stage to appeal before the apex body of the institution. Usually, those who are organized institutions, they do have a appellate body or the apex body which deals with after the finalization of the punishment or the finalization of the inquiry and imposition of the punishment. With this regard, go to a second. Let us say, अगर सिंपली गोटे ओवरव्यू करबा जे आमे इंस्टीट्यूशन मानकरे नॉर्मली को टाइप रो जिंस गुडा करे आमे फेस करबा. लेट अस से फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आमे टीचर्स माने बा हमर इंस्टीट्यूशन मैनेज करबा लोक मान भितरे फर्स्ट देखिबा जे कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट ता समस्त को माइंड रे फर्स्ट अट्रैक्ट करबा जे को टाइप रो जिंस गुडा कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट हो. कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट ता सार काली कहि चंदी कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट ता आपनकर आरटीए रे गोटे कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट अछि सेक्शन 17 रे जोदर के एब्सोल्युटली बार करूची जदि कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट होची ताल एज पर द सर्विस रूल ता ऊपर एक्शन नवा. कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट रे भी कहूची से पूरा रेस्ट्रिक्ट करूची जे कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट इंपोज कर परबनी इन सेक्शन 82 ऑफ द जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट. से पे फर्स्ट लेट अस से आमे गोटे जो प्रोसेस रे आमे जिबा से प्रोसेस रे ए लॉ गुडा को कोन रेकमेंड करूची से रेकमेंडेशन को धरि के आरंभ कले जदि गोटे इंसिडेंट होची एनी चाइल्ड राइट वायलेशन को नेकरी प्रथमे कोन हो. लेट अस से गोटे चाइल्ड राइट वायलेशन हैला सेटा आमो पाकू केमति आसीबो. आइदर आमे सीसीटीवी रे देखिलु आइदर गोटे कंप्लेन गोटे पिला दबो और गोटे पिलार बापा दबो किंबा आमर जे सीपीटीएफ बा चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन टास्क फोर्स रो ऑफिसर्स माने अछंती तांकर सो मोटो से कोठ गोटे खबर नेले बा गोटे डायरेक्ट एविडेंस पाइले. सीपीटीएफ कोन ना चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन टास्क फोर्स जो थरे 2 जण मेंबर रहबे वन फ्रॉम ईच कैटेगरी ऑफ ऑफिशियल्स लाइक स्कूल कोऑर्डिनेटर हंतु प्रोजेक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर हंतु सीनियर कोऑर्डिनेटर हंतु वाइस प्रिंसिपल हंतु कि सीनियर टीचर हंतु आउ जने एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हेड रहबे और ऑफिस सुपरिटेंडेंट हे परंती ऑफिस मैनेजर हे परंती अकाउंटेंट हे परंती 2 जण मेंबर रहबे. And the member of the child protection task force for all schools, hostels, daycare centers will discharge his or her duties independently as per the responsibilities given to him or her for the timing and as per the guidance of the management. The function तार CPTF बा child protection task force रो function गुडा का normally कौन रहे. Any member of the CPTF from amongst the official shall act and function independently to do the preliminary investigation to ascertain the genuineness of any complaint of a child right violation and forward the same to the principal or the secretary or the authority concerned. The member of CPTF shall provide required support to the victim including first aid जदि कोड first aid दरकार कोड काउंसलिंग दरकार. They shall some ताकू तार फास्ट एड बा तार काउंसलिंग कर साला परे से माने गोटे प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन रिपोर्ट जोटा कि हमरो प्रिस्क्राइब्ड फॉर्मेट गोटे अछि जोटा कि विभिन्न इंस्टीट्यूशन गुडा से गोटे प्रेस्क्राइब फॉर्मेट रखा 3 पेजेस 4 पेजेस गोटे फॉर्मेट से फिलअप करेंगे कौन कौन इंसिडेंट देखिले कौन कौन घटना है पिलार कौन कौन कंडीशन अच्छी किए बाड़ेला कौन एलिगेशन आसिला ऑल दिस थिंग्स गोटे डिटेल फॉर्मेट अच्छी ताकू से फिलअप करेंगे से फिलअप करके प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन रिपोर्ट टा as per the format as early as possible within a week from the date of receipt of the complaint they will submit it to the principal or the secretary or the authority concerned for necessary action and a copy to the head of the management or the CEO जो institution में जे head of the institution अछन तांको कॉपी मार्क and usually CPTF रा other responsibility गोटे रहउची कैंडिडेट वैल्यूएशन हेइनी किछि हेइनी गोटे वर्ष से गोटे नील रिटर्न बा गोटे एनुअल रिपोर्ट रे विशेष सबमिट करिया दरकार जदि दुटा हेइछि कि पांचटा हेइछि छटा हेइछि जहां भी अछि गोटे रिपोर्ट एनुअली गोटे मेंटेन हबो गोटे रिपोर्ट के जोदर के CPTF रा एनुअल रिपोर्ट बोली हम इट इज आल्सो द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी ऑफ द CPTF चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन टास्क फोर्स Bottom duties and responsibility of the child protection task force. On receipt of a complaint from the student or the parent, or they received it from the CCTV footage, or they can suo moto register a complaint in the approved format on the basis of the CCTV footage and carry out validation of the complaint as per the approved format. से जो format कथा कहली से format रे से बर्तमान से भेरासिटी बा तार validation दा केते सत केते मिछ से format रे से एते गुडे क्वेश्चन यार अछि से क्वेश्चन दा कला बेले जणा पड़ जे एक्चुअली इटा गोटे सत जिंस कि मिछ जिंस ता दरु से जिंसटा बाहरी आसी आफ्टर registration of the complaint after ascertaining the genuineness of the complaint they shall inform to the principal or the secretary or the CEO or the authority concerned by phone or in writing for necessary action. Once the same CPTF report is submitted before the authority or the secretary, they will refer the matter to CPC, Child Protection Committee, come Inquiry Committee, which is the authority established by the school service rule or the service of the institution as per the statute's guidance for inquiring the child right violation as complained by the CPTF. CPTF रो complaint basis रे statutory provision मानकर compliance को नहीं करी CPC बा चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन कमिटी इंक्वायरी कमिटी जोटा सो फॉर्म है से इंस्टीट्यूशन रे से ही इंक्वायरी कर बेसिंग ऑन द प्रिलिमिनरी रिपोर्ट ऑफ द CPTF फॉरवर्डेड बाय द अथॉरिटी. While forwarding the same for conducting inquiry by the CPC, the authority concerned, if feels necessary, depending upon the child right violation, they can suspend the delinquent employee, frame charges against the delinquent employee, and ask for show cause. Why such and such action will not be taken against you, giving sufficient opportunity to the delinquent employee or the person who has violated the child right for maintaining natural justice. Through a letter by the secretary, the CPC or the child protection committee, inquiry committee is empowered to commence the inquiry. Now, at this stage, three things are clear. The child right violation has occurred. Child right violation has initially been investigated by the Child Right Protection Task Force, CPTF. Then the CPTF's report has been submitted to the authority. Authority is now aware of what has happened or what child right violation has happened inside the institution. Now the authority has duly taken action depending upon the gravity of the offense by suspension, by asking for show cause, and framing charges as per the service rule of the institution. And basing on the charges, the CPC or Child Protection Committee, Inquiry Committee, now starts inquiry on the allegations against the delinquent employee. Giving a idea about the composition of the Child Protection Committee. The composition of the Child Protection Committee is 3-member committee, is operational for each program or in each institution run by the same management. The Child Protection Committee will comprise of 3 members, out of which 1 lady member must be there, and the management can replace any member of the CPC at his discretion in the event of CPC member is allegedly to have or allegedly to be an offender for carrying out such child protection violation. Jodi tanga nar kichi previous allegation thibo ki child violation allegation thibo, he cannot or she cannot be a member of that. And normally the period of the tenure of these members is 3 years, and it can further be extended by the decision of the management. Usually 1 member is from the managing committee of the institution, an associate child protection officer appointed by the management, any independent person related, a pastor, presbyter staying near to the institution, or an independent person to the sister concern of the institution can be a member. Normal duties and responsibility of the Child Protection Committee. The CPC will facilitate in separation with the inquiry. Other responsibilities of CPC are they will facilitate awareness program on child right awareness to the teachers periodically through the management. CPC will train Child Protection Task Force and update the management for any new changes that will be required for amending the child right policy. The CPC will liaison with the Child Welfare Committee, CWC, owned by the government of the district to ensure the child protection in the institution through the management and as and when necessary. CPC will also liaison with the voluntary organizations, district administration like Commissionerate Police to organize campaign on child rights protection, as well as impart education to prevent misuse of electronic gadgets, social medias by the children. The CPC shall be accountable in the best interest of fair play and justice to ensure impartiality and neutrality during the inquiry against the delinquent employee complaints. The CPC will function as an inquiry committee, as earlier I said, in case of allegation of child right violation, and submits its report. But before that, I will just sum up the conduct of inquiry, how the inquiry is being conducted. Inquiry is conducted more or less like the court proceeding. The delinquent employee appears on the date fixed, which he has been previously communicated. The management, through his representative, he also appears on the date fixed of the inquiry. Then the inquiry commences. The show cause reply filed by the delinquent employee is taken into account or taken into record of the committee. The documents and the substances or the evidences collected by the management or the institution, they will supply these in their counter reply to the inquiry committee. Then inquiry committee will start its proceeding examining the complainant, the delinquent employee, also to other evidences or personal knowledge. Those who have been personal knowledge, they will take the evidence of other persons also. And taking into account of the complaint, taking into account of the show cause filed by the delinquent employee, and taking into account of the number of documents exhibited during the trial and the evidences of the persons, they will conclude their inquiry as per the service rule. So the CPC will function as inquiry committee in case of allegation of child right violation and submits its reports to the managing committee through the secretary of the school, recommending action as per the penalties provided under the service rule and statutes applicable for child right violation. Here I can distinguish two things: the action recommended or the suggestions or the recommendations of the CPC is also in consonance with the service rule and also in consonance with the statutes. Statutes to say as per the acts prescribed, like RT penal provision, বা juvenile justice penal provision, বা POCSO Act penal provision अनुसारे से recommend करिवे. Not only that जे खाली service rule अनुसारे से recommend कर देले तांको part of responsibility is over. That apart, the CPC will fill up the result of the investigation in part 2 and submit the same separately to CO or head of the institution or head of the management in separate. Author refresh kurchi, complaint received from the child or the parent or from the other students by the child protection task force. Then the child protection task force also can so moto take cognizance of the any child right violation. जदि से माने सीधा सीधी देखिले कि गोटे सीसीटीवी फुटेज रे देखिले से सो मोटो गोटे प्रोसीडिंग तैयार करिवे. Then the child right protection force CPTA will conduct preliminary investigation in prescribed format given in the child right policy and submit the preliminary report to the principal or the secretary. Then initial action taken against the employee considering the nature of the occurrence. Simply because CPTA प्रथमे तांका preliminary investigation report ता देबे authority को बा school principal को बा secretary को submit करिवे. Depending on the physical abuse, corporal punishment or mental harassment, action will be taken as per the service rule against the delinquent employee, like suspension habo if felt necessary, disciplinary action पाइंगा charge frame habo. Kaiki specifically section 17 of the RT Act and 82 of the JJ Act ए दीटा जाको जदि conjoint reading करा जिवो ताहले दीटा जाको recommend करूची जे service rule अनुसार भी proceed करिवे, also statute रो purview भितरे मध्य किछिटा punishment जोटा भी show करूची से अनुसार भी act करिवे. काना JJ Act punishment आडे orient करूची is instinct माने fingering towards the punishment. जदियो RT Act कोची जे सर्विस रूल अनुसार आपन जहां मेजर punishment माइनर punishment जहां अछि आपन जो मिसकंडक्ट रूल अनुसार सर्विस रूल अनुसार सेतरे प्रोसीड करी. आपन आउथरे रिफ्रेश करिया पे खाली कोची सेक्सुअल अब्यूज ता जोथरे अछि if the incident attracts any of the provisions of the POCSO. काने सेक्सुअल अब्यूज आसी गला माने POCSO रो रोल पळे असला जोटा काली सार कहले पूरा डिटेल बुझी जंती जोटा सेते सेक्शन 3 टू नेकी सेक्शन 15 पर्यंत जोटा की somehow related to sexual abuse to the child, then it should immediately be reported to the special juvenile police unit or the immediately to the local police or the DCPO. आउ सेतरे CWC child welfare committee of this आपनकर जो district रो होची or special court as required under section 19 of the POCSO Act, which is compulsory, failing which there shall be punishment up to 1 year and fine under section 21 of the POCSO Act against the authority of the institution. एटा भारी इंपोर्टेंट जे जदी हमर धरनियंतु अदर कॉर्पोरल पनिशमेंट अछि सेथरा आपण बाहर जाय कि आपण को कंप्लेंट देबा पड़ुनी आपण इंटरनली गोटे सीपीसी तयारी कले गोटे सीपीटीएफ तयारी कले ताको इन्वेस्टिगेट कले इंक्वायरी कले सेठी सस्पेंशन कले किंतु जदी सेई टाइप रो ऑफेंस न होई करी एनी ऑफ द ऑफेंसेस व्हिच इज अंडर पोक्सो लेदु सेक्शन 3 रु सेक्शन 15 भितरे सार काली जहा बुझेले जोतरे जो ऑफेंस उडाक से ऑफेंस रा आपण को विद इन आपण को स्कूल रो डोमेन भितर रखि परिबेनी यू हैव टू ट्रांसमिट इट टू स्पेशल जुवेनाइल पुलिस लोकल पुलिस एसडीपीओ एथरे सीडब्ल्यूसी ए सब ए माने पिक्चर को आसीबा दरकार अदरवाइज देयर विल बी पनिशमेंट अगेंस्ट द इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ द अथॉरिटी सीपीसी बा चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन कमिटी और द एनक्वायरी कमिटी से तो एनक्वायरी कमेंट्स कले से एविडेंस नेले तार डॉक्यूमेंट सब एग्जिबिट हला उभय पक्ष रहिले स्कूल रो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव रहिले डेलिंक्वेंट एम्प्लॉय भी रहिला दरकार पड़ले जो पिला अगेंस्ट रे चाइल्ड राइट वायलेशन हेची से भी गोटे फ्रेंडली एटमॉस्फेयर भितरे गोटे माने भारी हैबिटेबल एटमॉस्फेयर भितरे ताकू भी एग्जामिन करा गला सब कला परे the CPC or the inquiry committee felt it that there is a child right violation ताले से कोन करिवे मु आपन आउथरा आगु कहतली जे तांकर रिकमेंडेशन ता not only as per the service rule but also in consonance with the statutes kana statute have stringent provisions sethe after receiving the inquiry report and recommendation of the CPC inquiry committee the secretary माने CPC जेतबेले तांको रिपोर्ट ता तयारी करले टेकिंग इन अकाउंट ऑफ द कंप्लेंट शो कॉज documents evidences then the secretary shall call an emergency meeting of the managing committee if there is a major penalty recommended by the CPC from inquiry. In case of minor penalty, the secretary of the school, being the disciplinary authority, if he thinks proper and justified, may impose the same and get the post facto approval of the same in subsequent MC meeting. माउ थरे डिस्टिंग्विश कर दूची सीपीसी को रिपोर्ट ता जदी कोनसी मेजर पेनाल्टी को रिकमेंड करूची ताहाले आफ्टर रिसीविंग द इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम द सीपीसी और इंक्वायरी कमिटी secretary shall call an emergency meeting of the managing committee jodi setare gote major penalty recommendation hechi otherwise if there is a recommendation of minor penalty then the secretary of the school being the disciplinary authority if he thinks proper and justified may impose the same and get the post facto approval of the same in subsequent MC 80 total process of inquiry starting from child right violation to submission of inquiry report of CPC and action taken by the authority or the secretary of the school or the institution is concluded. आउ कोन डाउट रहला जति मत कोन जति प्रोसेस टा को आउ थरे नै कहि starting from the child right violation formation of CPTF child protection task force submission of report of child protection task force to the secretary action initiated by the secretary by initiating or framing up charges and initiation of inquiry through CPC inquiry committee then inquiry comments inquiry evidence counter evidence jaha bhi hela submission of the report of the CPC to the secretary if there is major penalty then emergency meeting of the managing committee if minor penalty then that will be done by the secretary as he is the disciplinary authority and take post facto approval etik parjanta clear to subsequently the delinquent employee has an option of apply for an appeal against the order of the managing committee imposing punishment, major or minor, anything. But there is a appeal provision where the delinquent employee can file an appeal before the apex body or the appellate body of the management for redressal of his grievances. This is the end of the process in case of a child right violation. आउ कहते आउ कौन किसी डाउट अच्छी जब थैंक यू सर को हैंड ओवर कोच
हमें समस्त अनम्यूट करि परिबा वर्तमान रेडी रहबे यदि प्रश्न पचारियो अछि टू have the questions you can ask, but before you ask the question I would like to give a hint because yesterday I got some call and instead of wasting time let me address those issues. First होची जे टीचर माने व्यस्त होचंती यदि हमें कोनसी प्रकारे क्लास पढौचु क्लास 11th रे 12th रे जोठी बड़ पिला माने अछंती और से माने जेतले कोनस प्रकार एवरी व्यवहार करछन जोटा कि से माने ठीक भाई करते टुवर्ड्स आउटरीचिंग द मॉडेस्टी कमेंट पास करिवा टीचर को मैसेज पास करिवा छोड़ लॉ इज वेरी क्लियर कि पिला हो कि अडल्ट हो दिस इज स्पेशल एक्ट करुणाकर बेरा कोन कहउछथि यू कैन अनम्यूट अनम्यूट करंतु करुणाकर बाबू
यस सर
हां कोन कहउछथि टेल
मु सर कहूँ जे टीचर माने पढ़िया पाई बहुत प्रॉब्लम हे जीवो बड़ बड़ जो सीनियर क्लास छुआ माने को 6 7 8 9 10 जे
हेलो
सही कथा सर कहउतला आ किछ नै
आउ थरे रिपीट करियो क्वेश्चन ता मोटिवे सुनी बेरे मोर
सर स्टैंडर्ड 6 7 8 9 10 रो पिला मानन को पढ़ेवा शिक्षक पई गुटे प्रश्नवाची हे जीवो जे आमे ताको कोनोसी प्रकार कॉर्पोरेट बा टच गुड टच बेड टच ए प्रकार जो सिस्टम रही हलानी पस्तरे हमको पूरा प्रिकॉशन नै कि ही पढ़िया पई पड़िबो
सेही पई तो सेमिनार तक कराई वेबिनार ता we have conducted this webinar because of that because you know to make you aware that if you don't follow and don't protect yourself you may get into trap because of the law.
Thank you sir.
You took him no somewhere?
Just a minute.
That is the way he helped him.
हाँ हाँ कौन तो मु तक को फुल स्क्रीन मूव कर दो चाहिए Yes, repeat the question again. Let me clarify that. For some questions which yesterday I received, let me clarify that first. If a child commits a crime, it is no different than a man. Crime is a crime. Any person can commit a crime. So don't think that this law is only for children and there is no law for you. You have a law for women. We have the POCSO Act, Protection of Women from Sexual Harassment at Workplace or Domestic Violence. All these special laws are there, like these children laws. But general principle of law is that whenever anybody who commits, any person who commits a crime can be prosecuted under the law, same law. But the difference is the punishment and the trial is different. The And when a child commits the same mistake, like giving a comment to a woman or teacher, or harassing a teacher, or doing something harm to a teacher. So in that case, the teacher or the male or female teacher have the right to always inform to the school authorities, and the basically will try to counsel the child not to do. But if it is beyond beyond, so then they need to be corrected. There is a corrective form. What is that corrective form? So you have to inform to the police, and that is every police station now has a special police officer for the children. SJPU, that is Special Juvenile Police. Every police station. So in that case, the police will, if the child age of the child is below 18, then the police will forward this matter to the under the JJ Act, that is JJ, under the JJ Board, Juvenile Justice Board. The matter will be referred to the Juvenile Justice Board. So there are three kinds of offences. Basically one is the minor offences, one is serious offences, one is heinous offences. So if it is a minor offence, means up to 3 years imprisonment, any offence, then the JJ Board will do the inquiry and proceed. Now, if the offence is from 3 years to 7 years, it is serious offence. And 7 years, then offence 7 years to life or any beyond that, it's called a heinous offence. As you know, the cases of rape happening by the youngsters at the age of 16 to 18 years. So now the law is also, the punishment is maximum up to 3 years, and instead of sending them to jail, police, the Juvenile Justice Board, they will try, and instead of sending them to jail like in the criminal procedure by the criminal court, if conviction is there, then they will go to jail. Here they will go to the reform home, where they will be made correct, like up to 3 years. So it's not that they will be going scot-free. So they will be out from the school. They will be arrested and handed over to the JJ Board. JJ Board will keep them in a safe place, child safety place, for during the time of inquiry by the police. And if during the inquiry by the JJ Board found that these cases are true against a child, then looking at the kind of offense, minor or serious or heinous, the trial goes on either by the JJ Board or it is referred to the which court, like the criminal court, the POCSO court, we call children's court. So it's like we commit a small offense. There is then the judge. What happened? The police produces us before the SDJM, and the SDJM produces us before the send to either try if it is a petty offense, or if it is a higher offense where punishment is high more than the 3 years, then it is produced before sent before the district criminal session judge, district session judge. So similarly here the JJ Board acts like that. If it is a petty offense, the board can try these cases, send them to the reform homes. But if it is a higher heinous offense, it will go to the children court, trial will be there. You know, punishment only jail न पठाई reform home रखा जाओ 3 वर्ष रो अधिक भी रखा जाई परिबो depending on the nature of the case. So this every school now after this new rule has come in 2020, why you are making aware? Because there are a lot of chances, both असुविधा हमारा chance अछि. The schools को मन को advise करा जाओ कि it should take care of the children definitely 100%. And counseling part is must in every school, because you cannot control unless you have enough counselor in the school or trained counselors. So you cannot control. So there will be cases. So when the teachers need to be protect themselves, then there should be also a school policy that in such case what can happen, where you should inform, whether you can punish a child and stop coming to school once he has been arrested by the police and sent to the JJ reformative home. Yes, he can be given TC from the school. His name can be, but it happens only when the charges are proved. So nowadays everywhere the government has also advised that we should have a CCTV camera every class. to any offense committed by the child also, as I say, child also, they will be punished, but as per the law, for them the punishment is little lighter, and it instead of jail, it is the reform homes. Only in case of rape or heinous crime, they will be tried in the main court, that is the children's court, and then punishment is there. They give life up to life imprisonment also. ତେଣୁ ଆପଣମାନେ ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଦଣ୍ଡ ଦେବା ପାଇଁ ଚିନ୍ତା କରନ୍ତୁ ନାହିଁ, ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବା ଆମେ କେମିତି ସେଫ୍ ରହିବା, take preventive step, and it's good to keep a safer distance, and especially when the teachers are young and teaching to class 11th and 12th, always it is but natural the elder children basically pass some comments. So I think that needs to be addressed by the counselor. You should have a counseling committee and every school, and the parents should be called, advised. If they don't behave, then proceed. Don't file a complaint against a child because he has committed, because of the age they are prone to do. So here we are not discouraging you to file a complaint, but what I'm saying, that counseling must be there in the school now. So before you send this matter to the court or to the police and all that, I think, because once you send a child to police station, or once his case is proved and he's behind the bar, his life is spoiled. The other way also, if the teacher is also fixed for a false reason, I kill my life, I know. If the false case has been filed against somebody, ultimately he's acquitted. What kind of damage that happens to the life of a teacher is irreparable. So that is why more awareness is necessary for that. प्रचार जेकोसी प्रश्न काली से विषय होची जदि गोटे क्लास 10th रो 11th रो 12th रो पिला गोटे बड़ हमर यंग टीचर जे पढौचंदी तांकू टीचर मन कमेंट कला हां गोटे क्वेश्चन आसी व्हाट बी प्रोविजन फॉर अ यंग चाइल्ड यू मस्ट रिमेंबर दैट लॉ कहूची 7 वर्ष न होवा पर्यंत पिला दोष करि परिबो नाही तार मेंटल एबिलिटी नाही टू कमिट अ साइन. So no punishment to children committing offence up to age of 7 years. After 7 years, it will start. Which person? A question to ask them. गोटे पिला मेंटली गोटे ऑफेंस करिया फेले ताको साइकोलॉजिस्ट माने कहंती डॉक्टर माने कहंती जे 7 वर्ष ऊपर को 7 वर्ष तळको से गोटे चाइल्ड अछि जुबिलाइन नुहो जुबिलाइन हेले ऑफेंस कमिट करे से पेंका 7 वर्ष पर्यंत दंड नाही कर.
Sir, is there any change in the age of a child as far as the legal age is concerned in the amendment law? Age limit of the child, earlier it was a discussion that bring the age group 18 to 16, below 16 only to consider as a child, particularly those who are committing crimes.
See, the age of a child differs from every law. प्रत्येक act जो अच्छी child define कुछ industrial dispute act रे child को 14 years define. अच्छा हमें यदि 80 देखियो जेजे act रे ताले up to 18 years. POCSO भी रही up to 18 years. But अभी amendment हला हमन को दिल्ली रे जो केस हेतला मतलब रिपीट करूनी तो से केस पर जो heinous crime हेतला rape and murder, there was a lot of chaos in the country. As a result, the parliament has legislated now so far as the child in conflict of age, that age jota rahuchi, so it is now 16 years up to 18 years 18 years for 16 years through 18 years jota they will be also treated like an adult so far as the heinous crime is concerned. Whether heinous crime is committed or not, that will be decided by the judge board, then it will be referred. Am I correct?
Okay sir, thank you sir.
मु कोजी सुनील बाबू टिके नाम टे क्लैरिफाई कर देबे जेजे एक्ट से पहिला जेजे बोर्ड प्रथम असेसमेंट करबे where the board after preliminary assessment under section 15 passes an order that there is a need for trial of the said child as an adult. जेजे बोर्ड प्रथम असेसमेंट करिवे जे से जो क्राइम टा बा हिनियस क्राइम टा करिछि से क्राइम टा ताकू ट्रायल हबो एज एन एडल्ट काने से क्राइम टा ही डिफाइन करबो को टाइप रो मेंटालिटी रे पिलाटा करछ तो से मेंटल एबिलिटी ता जदी ऊपर अछि ताले यू विल बी ट्रीटेड एज एन एडल्ट एंड चाइल्ड कोर्ट विल हैव जुरिडिक्शन टू ट्राई द
ना से पचारछंती जे 16 जोडा 18 थिला 16 कराइछि हिनियस क्राइम
हां
सेटा तो ठीक
हां
है
सेटा से 16 रो 18 भीतर
जोडा 18 ऊपर उथिला सेटा बर्तन 16 को 18 हो जाय
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
से पिलार एज केते सेटा मध्ये जोडी कंसेप्ट ऑफ डिसीजन हबो जे बोर्ड जोटा फाइंडिंग करो सेटा होछ फाइनल कोन हुए जेतो गोटे पिला अगेंस्ट जोटा ऑफेंस हुए तो संगे संग पेरेंट्स कहबे नहीं तार एज ता आउट के कम अछि माने पिला बेल को असल दंडटा कम जोटा मन करो एखनी यदि 18 रु कम होबो ताले दंड कम होबो तणुकर 18 होबो 16 हो गेला 15 वर्ष 9 मास 11 मास 33 दिन एमति 27 दिन करिवे so in that case the jj board using the all scientific this thing they will decide the real age कारण एज बडा को बडे बडे ऊपर भी करा जाउती दिन गुडी so decision of the jj board is final in that case.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I would request your kind clarification with reference to the following situation. Now it is games period and the children of a particular class are being taken to the field for games. And while playing, a student somehow falls and get injured. What should be the follow-up procedure in this case?
See, basically, whenever there is an injury for a child, in routine course also. So I think the schools should have first aid because it is a mandatory now. Schools should have first aider and first aid. So that is why most of the schools have done the first aid, one first aid room with the teacher trained with the first aid, the Red Cross Society. So immediately, basically, we keep a lady teacher so that there is no allegation of POCSO if she goes there and do their dressing and the first. So the first thing is first aid, whatever is necessary. Suppose there is a bleeding, arrest the bleeding. Suppose there is a fracture, so don't move, immobilize the part. Second thing is inform the parents. And then third thing is inform the principal also. Then fourth thing is call an ambulance, shift it to the hospital if there is a hospitalization needed. Don't do any treatment other than the first aid. ठीक है बैंडेज लगे दवा ठीक है बाम लगे दवा बा ठीक है बर्फ लगे दवा यदि खुली जाई छी इमोबिलाइज कर दवा ब्लीडिंग हो यदि बांधी टाइट कर बंद कर दवा with the sanitized gauze and bandage and then immediately shift. अब क्वेश्चन हो जी केम शिफ्ट करबा. That is why most of the school now have kept the stretcher also in the field. During the two peons are there. So in that case what happened, they will put in the stretcher तापर नेकी ताकू ambulance नेकी पहुंचे देबे. So what happened, most of the time it is advised that when you send to the hospital, ask the parents to escort because there will be medical exam. She may be a girl, maybe a boy child also. So the medical examination all must be done in front of the parents. Jota kali mu kahithila. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
बेले बेले कौन करू आमे ना किछि हेइनी भाबी के अटकै दू पिलार पड़ी जाईची किछि हेइनी टिके स्प्रे कर दू जा जा रूम रे मां को बापा को जणे नी राति रे गला परे जते फुदिची डॉक्टर पाखु नउची देखला फ्रैक्चर हेइची सो दिस अमाउंट टू नेग्लिजेंस यू कैन बी बुक्ड फॉर दैट हमरो काम होची टू इवैक्यूएट द पेशेंट टू द नियरेस्ट हॉस्पिटल if hospitalization is required call the parent hand over the child saying that this is thing has happened तापरे बापा जदि तको बा मां जदि तको हॉस्पिटल न नेला your risk is over when the thing has happened inside the school it is your duty to inform the parent hand over the child or send the child to the doctor or the hospital and ask the parents to go there निजे भितरे केबे रखिबे नै
One more question, sir. Is there any time limit for closing the cases or to give judgment within a limited period of time like that?
Yes, yes. Sabu law re achi pray अधिकांश law re ebe होची किंतु सेगडा को कोर्ट रे एते केस रहउची से अनुसार सरुनी एबे अमनकर जे एक्ट रे जो अछि अमनकर जुबिलेंट जस्टिस बोर्ड जो डिसाइड करबो ता पई का भी टाइम लिमिट अछि 6 मास 3 रु 6 मास भीतर सरेउ किंतु सरी परू ना इवन पोक्सो कोर्ट पई मध्य आज अर्ली एज एक्सपीडिशियस होवा कथा सेही पई का डे टू डे ट्रायल पई का मध्य करा जाय किंतु कोन करिवे केतले भारत बंद हे जो केतले ओडिसा बंद हे जो केतले कोरोना जो शटडाउन हे जो केतले वकील को मां मर जिवे केतले जज को देह खराब हे जो these are all incidental thing happens so that leads to delay in the proceeding but yes time limits are there for this kind of offenses trial jota hue early kara jay
But not mandatory.
pardon
But not mandatory, those limits.
ha आपण मान देखिथिबे संबलपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज गुजरात रो पेपर पढिथिबे कि प्राय 3 मास भीतर फांसी दंड भी दे दे
आज्ञा
ए जो क्राइम्स गुडा को ट्रायल करा चिल्ड्रन कोर्ट रे so they are doing fast किंतु बेले बेले जल्दी करू करू साखी आसिले नहीं मेन साखी रही जो गोटे इनोसेंट लोक भी मरि जो की फांसी जो की दंड होई से पेका कोआ जाय आइन रे जे 100टा 69टा लोक फसी जंतु किंतु निर्दोष लोक को दंड दबो ती प्रिंसिपल रे डेरी हुई हम प्राय किंतु एबे चिल्ड्रन कोर्ट गुडा जो चलची चाइल्ड कोर्ट बा पोक्सो कोर्ट कहउचंदी सेथरे स्पेशल जज अछंती स्पेशल पीपी अछंती आ स्पेशल ट्रायल प्रोसीजर जल्दी सरुची प्राय
सर मोर प्रश्न होची जदि जने पिला माने ड्रॉप आउट है कि चाइल्ड लेबर है कि जाइतला तब पुनर्बार हम स्कूल को नेके आसिले तो is there any compensation sir like there was a word like repatriation or something like that
अच्छी अच्छी
केते टंका repatriation दिया हो सर
दीटा इंपोर्टेंट जिंसो यू शुड रिमेंबर वन इज गोटे पिला जदी चाइल्ड लेबर है कि पळेला 3 वर्ष काम करके 12 वर्ष बयस रे आसिला ताकू इमीडिएटली कोन करिवे ना ताकू डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेबर ऑफिसर रेस्क्यू करिवे हमनकर जो अछि जे बोर्ड रे तार प्रिपरेशन निया दिबो से स्कूल को आरटी एक्ट अनुसार से पिला को आनी पढ़ा जो स्कूल से पढ़े चाहिए आ ताकू सही क्लास रे फिट करे जो जदी से दीटा 3 वर्ष क्लास मिस करके तार बयस रे जो पिला मन थिबे सही क्लास रे ताकू रखा जी आ एटा आरटी एक्ट को टीचर माने ताकू एक्स्ट्रा पढ़े की तार एटा को बढ़ेबे सही क्लास नंबर 1 नंबर 2 ता पई के जे ताकू चाइल्ड लेबर नै कि ता पई मध्ये 6 मास पर्यंत जेल अछि एवं कंपनसेशन मध्ये अछि कंपनसेशन मध्ये मेन कथा पालन करनु जा फल रे इशू एप्लीकेबल के ही कर
सर मंथली कंपनसेशन अछि सर ना गोटे वन टाइम सेव
वन टाइम
थैंक यू सर
Sir, one more question. Actually, if any child commits any crime, then judgment came, then the child has also been punished. Then post punishment, is there any rehabilitation? I've heard that certain NGOs, through NGOs, the government is rehabilitating such child. But as far as the law is concerned, is there anything mentioned?
अब टिके क्लियर
Post punishment.
टिके इको हेला वाला हो तो क्लियर तो नहीं क्लियर कर दे रिपीट कर दे बेटे क्वेश्चन रे
प्रश्नटा होछि कि जेतला जने चाइल्ड जेल मतलब convicted hela convicted after convicted punishment also got the child but post punishment is there any rehabilitation as far as the law is concerned
yes even during the course of punishment there is a it is a reformatory home it's not a jail सेठी तनको दिया जाए पाठ पढ़ा जाए स्किल ट्रेनिंग दिया जाए सब दिया जाए आ तापर आसिला पर मेन स्ट्रीम रे से माने केमिति एडजस्ट हेबे ता पय मध्य बंदोबस्त रही
अच्छा
आपण मंगर किसी यदि क्वेश्चन नहीं मु पचारि तले आई विल आस्क यू क्वेश्चन no, the law is good. I think we must appreciate the government but only thing it should not be misused or abused. That's what I said. Many times law भलो था किंतु खराब व्यवहार करा जाए जेमती डाउरी एंटी डाउरी एक्ट आसिला नहीं कि भलो पई आसिला शेषरे टिके झगड़ा हे गेले स्वामी स्त्री दे तार सासू ससुर ननद ननदी समस्त जेल रे एमती परिस्थिति आसिला सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहला नहीं अरेस्ट करनी 41 रे सब छाड़ी दियो तापर ट्रायल होला पर जणा पड़े सो मेनी टाइम्स लॉज आर अब्यूज्ड तो हमें सेटा देखिबा जे ई लॉ टा होल पर्पस इज आमानकर अवेयरनेस जेती हबो टीचर मान को भितरे स्टूडेंट मान भितरे एटा ड्रास्टिकली एटा कमी एंड स्कूल नीड्स मोर काउंसलर
Sir, I want to guidance, sir.
yes
Sir, I am working in, I am handling one Childline 1098 project.
yes
So there is so many cases coming. So what happens, sir? We are working in one district. There is 90% people are tribal.
yes
So 23rd year boy run away with 17-year girl without marriage. After 10 days or 15 days, they will come again in village. So girl parents taking objection. So sir, there is no child marriage. We have not evidence for child marriage. And when we ask to girl child, so girl child saying, I am happy with my partner, life partner. So how can sir deal this case, sir?
नहीं मते प्रथम प्रश्न उत्तर दिंतु जे जो समय रे से पळै गले जो समय रे बहाई गले पूछी सेही समय रे से झियर बयस केते थिला
Sir,
what was
Hindi.
the age of the girl child on the day she ran away or on the day she married
She run away with that boy.
हां के ता बयस झियो पिलार बयस केते थिला सेटा कोन तुन सेटा कहले मु उत्तरटा कहबी
सर ताकि हिंदी वाला सर हिंदी रे
अच्छा हिंदी में है तो ये आप ऐसे बोली है जो जिस टाइम पे वो जो शादी हुआ या भाग गए पहले ना
जी जी
नहीं तो उस टाइम पे उसका उम्र क्या था लड़की का उम्र क्या था
नहीं लड़की का उम्र 17 साल है सर और लड़का का उम्र 23 है
हाँ मेरा बात सुन लीजिए अगर एक दिन भी कम हो 18 साल एक दिन
जी
तो ये रेप होता है आपको मैं एक ये एग्जांपल करेक्ट एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ हमारे एक ट्राइबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जहां आप बात करें इस टाइप एक ट्राइबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में
जी
एक लड़का एक लड़की का शादी हुआ और पूरा जैसे रेगुलर शादी होना ऐसे शादी हुआ
जी
और उसका बाद क्या हुआ कि कुछ दिन के बाद हस्बैंड ने उसको दारू पी के पिटाई करना शुरू कर दिया ठीक है
जी जी सर
गांव वाला आए बोलते ये बहुत मारता है कोई शहर से शादी करके लड़की गई थी तो बोला इसको एक थाना में दे दो फिर थाना वाला उसको साइज कर दे तो एक एफआईआर लिख के दे दिया रात को थाना वाला आया उसको बुलाया फिर नेक्स्ट डे उसको लेके 2 दिन रखा खूब मारा बोला दारू नहीं पीना है और बीवी को नहीं मारना है, और छोड़ दिया। और इस बीच में जब ये केस हुआ तब तक उनका 1-2 बच्चा भी हो चुका था। तो 3 महीने के बाद रात में बीवी और हस्बैंड बीवी जो है अच्छे से रहे, उसके बाद कोई लड़ाई नहीं था, दारू भी छोड़ दिया पुलिस ने पिटाई के बाद में। और पुलिस रात को आके हस्बैंड को उठा के ले लिया। तो वही पूछ रहे क्यों उठा के ले रहे हो, अब तो मेरे साथ अच्छा बिहेवियर कर रहे हैं। बोलते बिहेवियर तो अच्छा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन एसपी साहब ने बोला कि जब आप एफआईआर दिए थे, आपका शादी जो हुआ था वो 17 साल 11 महीना 29 दिन, 1 दिन कम था, तो इसीलिए ये रेप है, 376 के अंदर आता है, मैरिंग एंड अंडर विच। तो कानून ऐसा है। और फिर वो जेल गया, फिर बेल में आया, चल रहा है वो केस पे भी चल रहा है। तो मेरा बोलने का मतलब है कि अगर 1 दिन भी कम होता है मैरिज, तो चाइल्ड नॉट ओनली इन द प्रिवेंशन ऑफ चाइल्ड मैरिज एक्ट, उसमें तो कम सजा है, लेकिन जो इंडियन पेनल कोड में भी आ गया और बाकी दफा में ये जो आपका उसमें आ गया, एनी sexual harassment to a child, it will be below 18 years, 1 day also, it will amount with consent, अगर consent में कि मेरा हस्बैंड है, मुझे प्यार करता है, लेकिन it will be deemed to be a rape, deemed to be a rape का सर उसको पनिशमेंट मिलेगा। तो आप चाइल्ड लाइन में काम कर रहे हैं, अगर ये बात आप नहीं बताएगा तो आप भी फंस जाएंगे, तुरंत आप पुलिस को बता दीजिए। आज चाइल्ड हेल्पलाइन जो है, चाइल्ड लाइन जो है, वो ऑर्डिनरी और एनजीओ नहीं है। तो 2020 से इसको पोक्सो रूल में उसको मान्यता दे दिया गया है, उसको अधिकार दे दिया गया है कि ये स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी है। आपका काम है, ऐसे कोई केस होता है तो आप पुलिस को दे दीजिए, नहीं तो आप खुद फंस जाएंगे।
जी 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 सर, जी
ठीक है,
जी जी सर, थैंक यू सर।
वेलकम। और कोई क्वेश्चन? वो जो शादी करा था, लड़की को जो शादी करा था, मैरिज रजिस्टर पादरी था, वो भी अभी भागा हुआ है, उसका अगेंस्ट भी वारंट है क्योंकि 1 दिन कम पहले कर दिया। तो बी केयरफुल। हाँ
सर, प्रोजेक्ट रिलेटेड गोटे प्रश्न अछि सर।
पूछिए बोलिए।
सर कौन होची माने सर आपण जिन ट्राइबल एरिया रे मैरिज छोट बयस कर दउछन सर, बिलो 18 इयर्स, आ मैरिज हला परे माने माने जिंती से एलोप करी सर माने भागी पड़ी जाउछंदी, मैरिज हे जाउची, मैरिज कर देला परे आ से विषय से माने गां रे से माने सेटलमेंट कर दउछन, से माने बाहर को न से। So as a social worker, how we are going to handle it, sir?
देखिए
कूड़ा बोली की गुड अछि, कूड़ा रे से डिसीजन नहीं जान से।
नहीं देखिए, मैं ये बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि जो कानून है उसको तो सबको मानना है, चाहे गांव वाला भी फंस जाएंगे। आप जानते हैं, अगर रेप केस को कोई अगर सपोर्ट करता है तो उसमें सेक्शन 34 लाके अबेटमेंट बोल दो, उसको उतना सजा आता है, जिसने रेप किया उसको जितना है, गांव वाला को भी उतना सजा हो। तो आप जहां हो रहे हैं ना, वहां पे एक प्रोग्राम कीजिए काउंसलिंग का, और गांव वाला को अवेयरनेस के लिए प्रोग्राम कीजिए। हम आपको एडवोकेट देंगे, जाके आपको बता के आएंगे। ये जरूरी है क्योंकि एक सोशल इविल है। अब तो सरकार सोच रहे हैं कि लड़की का शादी जो है, अभी बिल प्रोसेस में सोच रहे डालने के लिए कि ये कम से कम 21 साल हो जाएगा, 18 से। So more awareness is required.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir.
Yes, बोलिए, पूछिए।
Sir, we are running child opportunity centers in our target villages, where the children come for 2 hours, and there is a volunteer who is selected by the village committee, and he looks after the children. If any child abuse takes place in that center during that period, what is the risk for the organization, sir?
See, whether the incident happened at home or school or child opportunity center or study center, whatever name you call, once a offense committed, which is there under section 3 to 15 of the POCSO Act, में जो बताया था, penetrative sexual, aggravative penetrative sexual assault, aggravative sexual assault, sexual harassment, any kind of these offenses जहां होता है, so immediately we have to inform the police. ना आपको कुछ करना है, ना कोई कमिटी को कुछ करना है. आपका कॉग्निजेंस में जैसे आता है तो immediately you need to inform to the police station, SJPO. वो नहीं है तो चाइल्ड हेल्पलाइन को तुरंत बता दीजिएगा, DCPO को बता दीजिएगा.
सर
अगर नहीं बताएंगे तो आप भी अरेस्ट होके जाएंगे.
सर थैंक यू सर.
क्या ये आज का दुनिया में क्या है कि हम लोग फ्रेंड है, जैसे आप मेरा साथ सुनील साहब फ्रेंड है, सिद्धार्थ सर है, प्रेमराज सर. अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम होता है तो हम सोचते हैं कि चलो उसको सॉल्व कर देते अपना अंदर. स्कूल में ऐसे होता है तो चलो टीचर एक प्रॉब्लम करते, दूसरा टीचर बोलते चलो मिलकर उसको थोड़ा सा हेल्प करते, इसको शट आउट कर देते, आगे नहीं होगा. लेकिन ये कानून नहीं समझता है. कानून बोलेगा जो इसको रोका 4 आदमी उसको भी उसी दफा में 34 लगा के अंदर कर देगा. पहले मैं जो मैरिज हो रहा था उस जगह में जाके मैं क्या करता था ना, मुझे बुलाते थे विटनेस के लिए. अब मैं जानता नहीं इसका लड़की का क्या उम्र है, इसलिए एकदम पीछे बैठता हूँ और दस्तखत होने का मुझे बुझाएगा, फिर मैं जेल जाऊंगा.
सर थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू. Basically what is required is more awareness, whether it is a child marriage हो कि about the sexual harassment of the children हो कि women का हो, जहाँ हो, more awareness is required. And teacher community, actually it is the duty of the teacher community that they should learn and they should also practice. So आपको लिंक हम भेज देंगे आज का कल का जो भी लिंक है ना टोटल रिकॉर्डिंग का, so you can hear yourself and just start in your school. नहीं तो इसको आपका क्लासरूम का लगा दीजिए, जो स्टाफ रूम है वहां पे कोई सैटरडे में बैठ के देखिए, 2 चाय खाइए, बड़ा खाइए, बंडा खाइए, समोसा खाइए और लोगों को बताइए.
Sir, you will be happy to know that our project, sir, we had conducted one meeting along with pastors and chalaka and some community leaders, both Christians and non-Christians, like marriage priests, along with district child protection unit, and trainers also from district level. They have come and they train on prevention on child marriage, and they were speaking about the act. And more than 84 participants were there, and block level we had conducted the program, and it was very successful. So we try to create awareness among pastors and marriage license holders. So that was
you should arrange. See, it is not pastors. पास्टर शादी नहीं करता है, पास्टर शादी करवाता है. जो शादी करते उनको ट्रेनिंग देने के लिए 80 नहीं 8000 रखिए एक साल में टारगेट. 80 में कुछ नहीं होगा, बाकी तो शादी कर लेंगे. तो इसलिए जो है ये काफी रैम्पेंट में अवेयरनेस होना चाहिए. आज के दिन में यूट्यूब में भी बहुत सारे चीजें यू कैन डाउनलोड. हमारा भी आज का जो हो रहा है ये भी यूट्यूब लाइव में मिल जाएगा. प्लीज कंटिन्यू टू लिसन, दिस इज वेरी हेल्पफुल so that you learn yourself and teach. Very simple thing, no necessary ये सेक्शन बोलना है, रूल्स बोलना है, वो जरूरत नहीं भाई. ये नहीं करना, करेगा फंस जाओगे बस, that's all. अगर कोई और है तो पूछ सकते हैं, नहीं तो we can take 10 minutes feedback from the participant. Three participants can give feedback that how you like this 2 days webinar and what was your expectation and what you need, if you need anything more. We can end this with the feedback from the participants. So may I request 3 voluntarily can unmute, open the video, don't speak in the closed video, open the video and speak out. 3 of them, 2 minutes maximum. What was the expectation, what you learned, and what else you give suggestions? ये तो क्लासरूम सिचुएशन हो गया. क्लास में जब टीचर पूछते हैं तो सब बच्चे चुप बैठ जाते हैं. आज लगता है मैं हेडमास्टर हो गया.
Excuse me, sir. Good evening. Okay, sir, let me just start. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
Chandan from Sukhinder.
Yes.
Just let me give the feedback that after attending this 2 days seminar, let me just tell very frankly that last 2 years, we were just attending classes without present uh, students in the class, all online classes. But now offline classes will start and physically teachers will be engaged to teach the students. And online classes are a little bit easier. And when offline classes will start, they will be tended with many issues. And one of the issues is POCSO. And very rightly, just before the start of the session, you have conducted this workshop webinar, which is very helpful for all the teachers. We were aware about this too, but sometime with the work pressure, we essential just before the session start. I request all the teachers. This is very obvious. We should avoid this. How to go out of this schedule of POCSO, because this is not our regular work. Our works are extended to so many fields, but getting into this kind of trap is difficult, not only for teachers, for the organization, for diocese, for everyone. But thank you, sir. Very rightly, you have just taken this session. And for last 2 years, actually, we were not taking the student into direct control. Now the students will come to the class and many incidents may happen. So it is a IVAS and it is a reminder for most of the teachers that to avoid this, and rules are also changing. For last 2 years, what are the rules were there, and now it is changed. It is very nice. It is a recapitulation of the previous POCSO as well as with many other new rules. Nice IVAS for me as well as for all my teachers. We have all enjoyed that. Thank you very much for taking the initiative to conduct it on behalf of the entire diocese, family, and other people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chandan. Next.
So I will take this opportunity. Thanks, sir. This is my second one actually. If you remember, in last time 2017 or 18 in Kolkata we had particularly on this. So it is a taking time because the law has been changed actually, lots of amendment. And one thing I will take away from this, you tell rightly, sir, the intention behind the bringing this law to safeguard our children. That is very important actually. After all this punishment, all the trials, everything is there, but the very intention to save our children. And as a person working among the children, and definitely it will be useful for me to implement in our community, and we'll make more awareness program in our target community also, so that it will be sensitized across the community and particularly among the parents and the leaders in the community. Thank you for this opportunity once again.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Thank you so much. At least a lady teacher should speak out. Are all participants scared to open their mouth? It's not a bad touch or good touch. Opening the mouth is good. The last one, lady teacher. Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sister.
All the laws are for the children, not for the teachers, sir. But at the other hand, the teachers are the most caring one for the students. But then also the teachers are always in trouble.
No, probably you, the first thing I said that the crime is for all, even for a child or a teacher or anybody. Whoever commits a crime will be punished. Only for children, it is through the JJ board, the lighter punishment. So if the teachers are harassed, so definitely there are laws for which the children can also be punished. But in a punishment is for reformation, punishment for reformation. Now, what is important is not, we are not there to scare you. The whole purpose of doing this, awareness webinar is that you get sensitized, that the children get sensitized, and the system will work. Children will have a safe, free and safe atmosphere to study. It might be my child, maybe your child. If they are victim, how do we feel? So that is why God also loves children most than anybody else. Adult God loves, but God loves more children than the adults. So let us also love the children and see that their dignity, living dignity is maintained. Don't worry, teachers are protected, and if you have any problem, we are there to protect. Absolutely, there is no problem forever. If we are correct, nothing will happen. I can tell.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So with this, we will end the today's webinar, and I must thank specifically to the Cuttack Humanity Trust, Mr. Biswaranjan Mahanti, the President, and our Secretary, Mrs. Sorno Mishra, and all other office bearers, Mrs. Rojan Grace, the Vice President, and Treasurer, Mr. Prakash Pari. All of them are active social workers, and it's their intention that this kind of workshop and webinar should go, and it will be live streamed. It has been decided, so that you can also listen and pass on to others, those who could not join, and so that all will be benefited. Second thing, I would like to regret that today half part of this webinar. Actually, my Zoom was of 500 for 1 month, but originally it was for 100. So those who were beyond 100, they were out of this Zoom. So kindly pass on this link to them, those who have could not join because the 100 limit was there. It is full. So for that, and special thank to Help a Child of India, and because that is their primary initiative. See that every child lives in dignity, and they are much, as Mr. Pratihari said, Bharathan, that they are doing it to the prevention of child marriage. So similarly, many other actions are being taken. This is another initiative of the Help a Child of India and the Help a Child, other places also. So the intention is that every child gets it right only through webinar and propagation. Today, the social media is the best platform to propagate, and that is how this initiative is taken, and it will continue. And if you need any help, please contact Cuttack Humanity, Mr. Mahanti. He will give you some kind of help. There are so many. We help you out. Don't get depressed on the POCSO. The laws are very hard, but when you are good, it is very soft. Soft for the children and soft for the good teachers. I believe so far in my life of my practice in the advocacy as a lawyer, in no innocent person I have come across. No innocent person. So be assured that nothing will happen to you. See that the protection of the children, also your staff. Make more awareness, discuss among yourself, have seminars, webinars, symposium on this issue, and spread it. The children are protected. Thank you very much. With this word, we end the meeting today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and
Thank
have a
you,
good
sir.
night. And maybe sometimes God will give us opportunity to meet in this kind of forum or physically to have more interaction. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
I
sir.
end the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome, madam and sir. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.